more Astral Chain content to be recorded. And by the time this is being shown up as well, you guys have seen in the file selection that it says PT Ultimate. In the spare time where I don't want to do like second recordings or like recording in general for Astral Chain for file 12, even though we're so close to finishing, I've been going around the normal courses, the normal files to get a platinum on it, just so we can get some of the final things for like a bonus episode or for the end of the series. So that's why right now I'm trying to change my legions in general towards what they were before. Some I just keep the one I had before when I was using them for achievements because they're not gonna be that bad. Like for the Arrow Legion, I just kept Air Shot because I only use it for slow shot. And for the Axe Legion, I actually kept Speed Star on because I usually don't use Crash Bomb that often, and if I do, it's just there. I also went in here for the abilities to at least change my Axe Legion towards one specific case, which is the beginning of this episode, because the whole premise of the first case we're doing is back in Sector 5, but the majority of the enemies have fire falcons, fireballs, Deimos, and all that. So like the majority of the problems are gonna be through burning. So I was trying to find a ability core either with critical damage or at least some attack ups with anti-burn, anti-flame. That's what happened to me, and that's why this beginning may be a bit longer than usual. So that's gonna be a fun thing to do. Found one with critical damage plus 40, so I still get the increased damage in critical hits. But now I just use this one to add a slow attack because since I'm using the 360 a lot, it will hit multiple enemies, and that slow effect will be hit on multiple enemies more often. Or since back to spin cycle, it hits twice, it has like a double chance of doing that, so it's good. Also, the auto heal is pretty funny, where it just heals me for like 1 HP every tick, and auto collect is just there because I keep forgetting to pick up any other things. Just here looking at the rest of my legions to see what I can do and all of that. But with just legion learning out of the way, we get to actually start this episode with Sector 5. I know for me, again, I actually wanted to put some of the live recording I had here, but I chose against it because, well, during the times I do B-roll footage and all that, or just play video games in general, I usually have like a video or something playing in the background, not for like entertainment, but just so I can hear something. Especially if I'm doing something repetitive, like either File 12 for Astral Chain or when I did Mario Galaxy, Super Luigi Galaxy and all that. So just something to keep me ingrained into the game. So that's just being picked up on my microphone as well, especially since it was under my microphone. So I just went against it. But I know for Sector 5 is one of the hurdles that stopped me in my personal file of Astral Chain. So that's pretty much what it is. And if anything, I was half expecting this case to take me like an hour or something, because how I do it is I usually like get a game over on the second fight, and when my brother did it, it's exactly the same thing where he died in the second part of the fight, or the second fight. So that's pretty much it. For the first fight, we're just fighting against the Kalino, and when the Kalino gets down to 50 HP, 3 claws will show up. The claws are the least of your worries, though they are pretty speedy. But if you just prioritize them when they show up, they have pretty low HP, and you just knock them out with one spin cycle from the Axe Legion. Also, one of the other abilities that I've been using now, actually, since this recording, has been Speed Star, because I underutilize Speed Star and I probably don't use it as much as I should. Speed Star, and like the premise on why I never used it is because I always had it on a speedy Legion. Whole point of Speed Star is that it increases your attack speed between you and your Legion. So having it on the Axe Legion actually benefits a lot from it. That or the Arm Legion. Because your attack speed being increased with it means you can get more spin cycles in, you can get more attacks in, and it also cuts down the end lag on most of the moves pretty significantly. Where I think it can get like like 1 or 2 more spin cycles from the speed start, and it adds to its name. It really speeds up fights more often than I thought it wouldn't. So in general, I've been using Speed Star more and more to just give myself an advantage and all that. And it actually shows pretty useful during the second fight where we have a Deimos and a Fire Falcon. The Fire Falcon will just show up after you do some like 25% HP on Deimos. And then after that, oh god, not Olympus. A Dryad will show up for that. And if anything, Super Armor Alpha or Omega would work tremendously well against the Deimos. But if you want to do damage, or if you want to do like any significant damage against the Deimos, switch to your gun, and you can do your 360 from anywhere. But do be careful that your Axe Legion comes back to you when you do it, so do be mindful of that. But yeah, no, the Speed Star really did help out during this part of the fight because my only problem was that Deimos does a lot more damage during its during its attack before its paralysis. So when it slams onto the ground, it makes a giant fire wave. Also, if you don't have anti-burn, it also will burn you and stun you to the point where the enemies will combo off of you. So it's really good to know that. Other attacks are the little shotgun blast it does, which pretty much does suck, especially since if you're not careful about it, you can like lose a lot of your Legion, limiter, especially with the Axe Legion, because that does happen later on in this. And not much else to say on that part. Literally just, if you're having too much problems with the Deimos in Fight 2, just get yourself some anti-burn. It won't make the fight like a joke, but it will make the fight a lot easier, where you won't get burned from its attacks and any fire on the ground will just not affect you that much. So it's pretty good. Nothing much else on that front. The final fight actually does not have any fire in it, so I wasn't prepared for that one, because I know at this point, fight 3 for this case and onward, I'm totally blind to the remainder of the cases, so I wish I could give some of the live commentary for these things. But now like fight 3 is against the Podarge, and after that a Typhon. The whole premise of this fight is that thunder rains down in the astral plane, and if you don't have anti-stun and anti-paralyze, you're gonna get stunned and paralyzed during this part, and it pretty much sucks. Your best bet is dodging when you see the circle up here beneath you, and anti-paralyze. Also stuff like blue shield from the Axe Legion or riding your Beast Legion will help a lot, especially when Typhon shows up. Typhon sucks. Since its whole gimmick is paralyzing you, it will hit you for once and immediately knock you into a stun state where Podarge can benefit off of it and either hit you with a rising upper or hit you with a 3-hit attack. So your best bets is just stunning it with stunning both of them with Gravity Storm, Slow Shot, Howl, and then after that just try to benefit from it. The only problem with what I did during this fight, during this fight, is that since I had Hit Rush on my, since I kept doing Hit Rush with my Arm Legion and not with my Arrow Legion, it falls down to the fact that once the Arm Legion is finished with its Hit Rush, it knocks the enemies away, which takes out its stun. So the stun will stay for less and less than normal. So that's pretty much my problem. But yeah, no, once Podarge is down, you can just prioritize Typhon and just be careful of lightning strikes because those still happen even when Podarge gone. But not much else to say. I know that During the fight, I actually had to ride my Beast Legion to grab a specific amount of space so I can keep going. And yeah, no, I had to heal on that point. Don't be afraid to play passively against Typhon, especially since one mistimed attack or one mistimed mechanic, and you're gonna be losing almost half your HP. So do be mindful, but that's pretty much the end of this fight. Surprised that I got it on my first try, but it was really good when it happened. For like almost 5 minutes on that, but Jesus, I never expected myself to get it on my first attempt. The next cases coming up are all blind for me, so it's gonna be fun to sit down and do the rest of them. Because technically from this point on episode 69 of Astral Chain, we have like 5 episodes left that I planned. Yeah, if I'm planning correctly, we have 5 episodes left of Astral Chain, which ends off the series on episode 74. And if I want to do a bonus or postpone, if I want to do a bonus episode, that'll be 75. But if I postpone the final episode to put some of the bonus content in that episode, if it doesn't go too long, then it'll stay at 74. But in general, we're almost done with Astral Chain, which I am very surprised at. But nothing much else to say. I'm also just, by the time I'm doing these as well, I'm going back into files and cases to figure out what enemies I'm missing for the Collectopedia and what other shit I'm missing for subject logs, characters, and locations, actually. Because in general, Astral Chain has a lot of these where you have to go around the world and just take a picture of where you are. So yeah, like Sector 5, the Kanji shop, in general, something like the 5-star pagoda in the background of File 2 is another one. So those things are pretty good. Much else to say on those fronts. I just have to go to each case, and I have the guide up with me to figure out where to go and all that. This next one here in Sector 5, or Zone 09, is where we fought Eris. Or I just call it the Hermit Room, because every time we show up here, Hermit shows up. But if I remember correctly, this is the arena that was used to fight Eris back in File 11. So that's pretty good. That's much else to say. But this is a pretty long fight. It's only one like general arena, but this takes a while, so buckle up. I just started off with an energy drink so I can do it. But we have basically a good chunk of enemies, usually only 2 enemies per round. The only fights that can be a problem would be the one with Hector, Kotos, and Gaijis if you're not used to them. Tesmian because of his thunder ability. The final one can be a problem. Astral Companius can also be a problem for some people because of its tornado attacks and being the fusion of both wind and thunder. If you don't have anti-stun for Astral Companius, you're gonna be fucked. But nothing much else to say. This first round is pretty easy. It's against a Pygmalion and Astraeus, so nothing much on that. Your biggest part would be the Astraeus. I also, in the middle of the fight, took I think a golden tea, which gave me more defense and armor, which made this fight drag a bit more, but I didn't mind because of what was going to happen. So I just kept it, and like I saw it after the fight with the Gaijis, but I just left it on. It didn't make me do less damage, but I just took it because I needed the armor, especially for the Gaijis. So that's pretty much on that front. There's much else to say, but like how I've been doing these cases in general is that either when I get back from work or during the weekends, which is my best attempts at getting footage, but usually cannot happen, I try to just sit down and record 1-3 file thing, which before worked out pretty worked pretty much well, especially with round 1 and 2, because the lives they give you help me out tremendously to keep it within like the time I go to before to work. But now it's just round 3, and I know that one bad move will knock me out tremendously, or will knock me out tremendously, or get me to the point where I need to fall back and heal and all that. I have to do these more either after work or during the weekend and all that. I know when this video is gonna be slated, it's gonna be in the middle between like the between Mario Sport Mix and Turtles, so it's just gonna be Wednesday's video. And I know when I record the last 5 videos I need to do, I know that the final 2 episodes are gonna be their own separate videos of the week for Astral Chain because of what it's gonna be. I know one of them is basically the final part of Astral Chain, and I want to just leave it for a final video, so that's fine. And then the second to last video, if you guys have been since you guys have been watching these videos pretty often, you guys will know that when I'm done with all of the round 3 cases, the W case will show up for round 3, and I know I'm gonna have to do that as its own video because it's gonna take a while for me to just finish that, especially with the enemies I saw in the guide. But rather just save my commentary for when I do the W case. But nothing much else to say on this fight here. It's just the arena. The companions that will show up here with Sphinx is not gonna be that bad, especially if anti-stun. But the Sphinx might be a problem because the Sphinx is, I think, like later enemies in the game do have a chance to avoid your attacks, so either your howls, your soul shots, and all that. So do be mindful. But in general, every time I get a stun with the every time I get a howl with the Beast Legion, I just do a power charge with the Beast Legion and then swap to the Axe Legion and then do a speed start, which gives me the speed up I need to do more of the things. It's also really good to have the speed start for the Gladius mode, since it's pretty slow. It speeds up it a lot, and you can get more of the attacks in. You get like a full attack of the Great Sword, the Gladius wood at the end of it. But not much. I don't think I got that pretty low on HP. I think I one fight did it for me, but I don't think I got that low on HP. I think it was just during the Hector and the Firewolf where it took me down to low HP. But no other fight did that. The fight with Kotos, not bad. I know for me, I already finished my fishy water because it only gives me 2. So I didn't have anything else. And the other energy drinks don't give me the attack and armor. I think only one of them does, and they don't give me it. I know for this is like a very late explanation for it, but if you guys haven't, actually go into the description to go to the guide for this game, and you will see that every case has its own item selection, and they're already determined by the time you open up the case, because that's just how the game works. So like how it works is that every case has its own like item selection for you to have. So it would be like a resonance one, more combat oriented for W, more healing oriented for some other cases and all that, and they just give it to you so you can use them, and you cannot like buy any items from Brenda and all that to help you out. You cannot buy other items like that. They give you what you can use, and then that's it. So just don't waste your money on that. Also, stuff like the I think not the limiter, but the AED charges you use don't work in Ultimate, especially in the game, because since you have no revives, you have to since you get no revives, you have to figure out like what to do and how to stock up on your lives. But we're nearing the end. The Testmian is the only other enemy I can see giving you troubles because of its thunder ability and its chances of just spawning its foxes to there's foxes during low HP to just screw you up, especially with the targeting reticle being as good as it is. But yeah, no, by the time this is also being recorded, Persona 3 Reload comes out at the end of the week, and my brother's pretty excited for it. I know for me, I can't play it because my computer is terrible. I can try, but it's gonna look like utter shite. But yeah, no. Penalty Reload's coming out. That's gonna be a fun game for my brother. But this Race Companions comes out. Not that much of a problem with the other ones. Just wish the stun stayed where we can do it. But with the spin cycle coming out and speed start coming out, you get to see like how much damage you can do, especially with the increase in speed, where it just really does melt down the HP bar. It's really good. So if you are really wanting to do speed start, it's not a bad strat. Just keep it on the Axe Legion and you'll be fine, because it speeds up the spin cycle really well to the point where it does do its job as a spin cycle, like a rotary blade or a fucking blender. I really have slept on speed start to the point where I've been using it now in the other cases I've been doing, especially during the file replayability for some of the other achievements I'm doing. But I know by the time we are doing that, I know I opened up the menu once, and we are technically almost done with that. I think from now, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let me see, because I'm counting them up in my hand right now. It said 5 videos. 11 cases left by the time this video is done. We have 11 cases left. So that is surprising. But yeah, this last one here, the Water Bureau, caught me by surprise for 2 reasons. We'll leave them for when when the thing shows up. But yeah, no, the Water Bureau actually surprised me a lot with some of the enemy placements, and actually it's a great place to get even more pictures for your Enemypedia. And I'm gonna level you with you guys. The Enemypedia, though, I want to do like either a bonus episode or an episode in general for that, and show when you can like when you first see an enemy and what's like the best case for that enemy and all that. But A, it'd be redundant, and then B, I would just put down file 12 for every single one of them. Especially like some enemies don't show up during, like some enemies don't show up during file 12, like the Akira Legion fusion in file 11 or file 10 and all that. So that's some points for that, but in general it would all boggle down to first seeing like file 6, and then best best case scenario would be file 12 case R310 and all that. So it's pretty redundant to do that. But the first fight in general was one that surprised me, because you're up against 6 human enemies. So think of the people back in think of the people that we fought in file 3. No, yeah, file 3. Like file 3, file 4, where we get Harmony Square, which I was really surprised about. I was really surprised about that. The last round also surprised me a bit, because we're fighting against the 10 random drones, but they're all the types of drones. So it would be the Hermit drone, it would be the Hermit drones, both gunner and missile, and the police drones, gunner and missile. And that, that thing I told about, so like that example I gave you, first seen in file 6, but best bet is R310 is for the normal missile drone for the police, because you'll get a normal gunner drone, especially from what do you call it, either I think file 2 you can get, like the earliest you can get it is file 2, the one that is broken on the pipeline where the arrow nemesis is shot down. But yeah, other than that, this is like your best bet to get each of the 4 types of drones here. You know that, and this is like the only time you will get a missile drone from normal play is if you say fuck it, we ball in file 6 after getting caught. If you keep fighting all the enemies again and again and again, eventually after the gunner drone, missile drones will spawn, and that's your best bet to just take a picture of it and save it to your Enemypedia. But if you don't if you don't use it or you actually want to keep that thing down, this is your best bet to do it and all that. The Hermit's ones, you get them from the Hermit Pilot. So if you have a Hermit Pilot in here, you can just say, screw it, have him alive, take out his drone and he'll spawn a new one, and it can be a random one between gunner and missile. Mostly gunner, but randomly it can be a missile. The second fight is also pretty funny because it starts off with one Raven officer with a Legion and then 3 normal officers. So yeah, like 3 normal officers will show up as well, which is very, very funny that this case in general, we fight against human enemies, we fight against 3 Neuron officers, and another Raven officer with a Legion. But the Raven officer is not going to be that much of a problem, especially if you just prioritize him and not the Legion. The Legion, yeah, like the Legion that the officer has is a Type R Blade Legion, so the Sword Legion. Not that much of a problem. If it was a Bradish, it would be more of a problem. If it had a heavy arm, it would be more of a problem and all that. Especially also like a bowgun would be a problem. Slash arms, or like the blades, not gonna be like the least of your worries. So that's it. The final round is just 12, like 8-12 frogs. Just one spin cycle will be able to take all of them out. Going into the Astral plane, and this is where the majority of the fight happens. We're at 50%, and this is where most of the fights happen. So buckle up. We got infantries, we got a lot of aberrations that will show up, a lot of shells, a lot of mutts, and a lot of hawks. The final ones are just Diomedes and a Clog, and then the final fight will be Kylan and Eris. For the Kylan and Eris fight, focus on Kyle, because Kyle can be an asshole, especially if you don't have anti-stun, anti-burn, and all that, because he has the shock baton, he has Molotovs, so do be mindful of that. But if you have all that, anti-burn, anti-stun, and all that shit, then just focus on the Eris because of its laser ability that will show up and all that, so that'll be good. If you can keep both Eris and Kyle in the same area during a gravity storm and then stun them, then that's your best bet to just do damage. The aberrations fight is just a lot of aberrations of different types of varying types, so this is not like your best place to get pictures for the aberrations you're missing. So do be mindful of that. Every specific case or every specific type of aberration has their own case where you can use it, or you can use them to grab pictures. So do be mindful of that. If you're still missing some aberrations and you want to have the chance to find them, use this case as your ability, but you're rolling the die exponentially a lot. The one with the shells is kind of annoying. Basically, they're gonna be getting every single one of them. The problem are just the ones that shield, so like the cares and all that. But surprised with this shot, surprised like this little like chunk I got with the a stinger input with the Singer, and knocked down one of them, and then the others were pretty low where I can just hit them with a slash. But getting the blue shield up was pretty helpful for me, but I just wanted to take out the ones that were just not shielding, so the ones that are just attacking me right now, before prioritizing the ones that are shielding, so the cares. So that's why I'm not just focusing on that. The Dryads are the only ones that can attack me in this fight, so it's pretty good. After this guy is down, we can get the cares and move on with the rest of the cases. This one part is the longest part of this case, and it's the reason why this video is like more than the expected time limit I usually give myself for that. But yeah, just trying to get on with the fact that this is gonna be a while. Also surprised that I missed the sync attack with it. But yeah, I still had stun grenades, which helped out tremendously, especially after cutting the Caroline. Because if you cut the Caroline and then focus on the Dryad's gonna be healed with a brand new shield if you don't kill it in time. And not for me during this part. I didn't expect this thing to go that long. Because I kept looking at the percentage to see how much I was done. 50% getting into the like 50% getting into the fight or getting to the astral plane kind of irked me because it was pretty long. With the one with the one with the different with the different wolves and the different mutts and all that really was good. Especially with the tiny mutts, because you can do a single spin cycle and take out a good majority of them with the bomb, and it only leaves the Nemean at the end of the line. So really does put into premise how good these fights are, or how good the spin cycle is. The next one that shows up is the fight with the Hawks. The Podarge is the biggest of your worries, but if you get a gravity storm up, you can get all of the tiny Hawks to just get them all in a row. Because if you don't stun them first, they will dodge out of the way. They will dodge out of the way normally. Once you get to the Podarge, you can just deal with it normally. So normally with stun grenades, Howl, slow shot, and gravity storm. So that'll be great. Also, the Podarge doesn't spawn with other small versions of itself, so you can use that to your advantage as well. But that's there. With the Podarge being like the third to last fight, we only got like 2 more fights to go. The next fight is just more of a breather for you, especially since it's a Diomedes and a Claws. So you can just use that time to just sit back, especially with the Diomedes. You can just use that to sit back, heal if you want, get your limiter back up, and just steel yourself for the final part with the Ares and Kyle. Almost a Keel. But all those ability cards I see, it's the problem. There you go. A Claws and the Diomedes. Just the same rules apply. Just stun them all, get it into a gravity storm. I missed the Diomedes, which sucked, but that's fine. Because the only problem is going to be the Claws, since they spin or go pretty fast. You can just hear that cacophony. But with that, that's every single one of them down. Just the Diomedes is up, and we could just use our spin cycle to grab them. You could also just use this time to go around, pick up some other ability cards you just have lying around, or use it a time to heal if you are pretty low, since it's a great sword. But when the Kyle and the Air show up, just be mindful to prioritize Kyle if you have no elemental resistances. But if you do, prioritize the Ares, because its lasers are going to be a problem. If you can get both of them in the same gravity storm and in the same Howl, it will tremendously speed up the process of getting both of them. But yeah, if you have all your resistances, prioritize the Ares. If you don't, prioritize Kyle, because Kyle will do a lot of damage to you. But yeah, no, I think the last enemy that wasn't here is the Kyle, which, if I didn't have the thumbnail for this one, which is just, I think, the Afra, or just basically like a samurai slash thing with the Axe Legion, it would have just been Kyle just put in the stock Family Guy death pose, which it kind of does look like it. But with this, we are almost done with this entire case. And also, you guys have seen, and I didn't bring it up until now, is that I forgot to change my color for this round. Yeah, I didn't change my color for this round. I forgot to. Honest to God, I forgot to. But next episode has the new color we used, which is the mechanic suit. Yeah, the black mechanic suit. And I changed the Legion color for that as well. So you guys are going to see that next episode. But I will give you this. Since I fucked up with the red, I'm going to keep the mechanic suit for 4 episodes. and then we're changing back to our normal attire for the final episode because it kind of makes sense. Just suit up normally for the final one. But yeah, 3 cases done. Pretty long in my opinion, but back to being blind for me. And that's where the fun of File 12 usually is, just doing this thing blind. You get to see all the enemies and you get to see yourself just focus on these things. But yeah, thank you all for joining me today in Astral Chain. Next time, we're going to be getting through more of these cases. We're going to be doing these blind now. And well, that's all from me. To the computer.